There are fewer, sadder sights in the NFL than the running back with nowhere to go. The designed hole closes like Star Trek doors. A swarm of defenders penetrate into the backfield. For every man dodged, there's two behind him to cut off any path for escape. And if there's sympathies for the running back who's under an onslaught on nearly every carry, then it's practically a tragedy when almost after every handoff you see a 5-star running back stuck behind bad blocking, a simple scheme, and all exits closed. How do you dance through 5 pairs of hands all grabbing you at once? Just ask any woman who got stuck in a mid-1990s mosh pit. And worse yet, when these running backs do get jammed up in this manner, it's very hard for them to show off their superior talents because the stats will only show them as average. But a lesser back in the same situation would have looked like a video game boss that you could one-hit. Here I present the conundrum of Kenneth Walker III. He's put up almost 2,400 total yards of offense through his first 2 years, to go along with 18 touchdowns. And yet, nationally, outside of those that play maybe fantasy leagues, he still is largely unknown. He's not yet been prolific, but then he hasn't really had the chance. There are a few running backs in the NFL that can create something out of nothing like Walker. His quick reactions, lateral explosion, and balance are a nightmare to corral in the open field. So many times over the past 2 years, we've seen Walker cornered by multiple defenders at once, and yet he found a way to evade them. Like a ghost phasing through walls. He's here and then he's suddenly over there, and you don't know how he got over there. Few backs I've seen in my life can give you the breathtaking acrobatics and explosiveness to take a busted play, set to be a major loss, and turn it into a spectacular 2-yard gain. In those times when Walker's actually been given a big rushing lane and defenders not hammering him after every handoff, those kind of runs where no contemplation is required, he's shown he's capable of making a house call from any spot on the field. You won't find a better running back in the NFL, yet he's not better known for a couple of reasons that are outside of his control. And with the new coaching change, he may start to get these issues addressed. First, the run blocking over the past 2 years for the Seahawks has sucked. It's been really bad. When you look at your starting 5 offensive linemen from this past year, none of them had a higher than 58 run blocking grade by PFF. You look at the past year beyond that, in 2022, Walker's rookie year, it was only marginally better, but basically more of the same. To give you some comparison on this, when you look within just our own division alone, at the San Francisco 49ers or the Los Angeles Rams, both of those teams, all 5 of each of their offensive linemen, their starting 5 offensive linemen over the past 2 years, all had higher than 58 run blocking grades. Another issue outside of Walker's control was the old offensive system's incessant desire to hammer the inside of the line of scrimmage play after play. One ramming of the gates after another, many times to little effect because A, the blocking just wasn't there, and B, because it was entirely predictable. If I know you're going to run inside over and over and over, why defend the edges? If a linebacker knows you're not going to hand it off to the fly sweep man in motion, meant to move the linebacker a step or two away from the running back's hole pre-snap, then there's no reason for the same linebacker to take the bait. He'll just ignore the man in motion and stay zeroed in on the running back. 36% of Walker's runs were to the edges in his rookie year. That only increased to 40% in 2023. Now, that may not sound too bad at first, but consider, over these first 2 years of his career, he's averaged 5.3 yards per carry on runs outside of the tackle box versus 3.8 yards per carry inside. That's a weighty disparity and makes you wonder why they didn't do more to feature him on the outside. Another strong and underrated part of Walker's game is his catching ability. His last year in college, he only caught 13 balls, and so many wondered if that would be missing from his game as a pro. He's reined in 56 catches and over 400 yards receiving in his first 2 years, putting those questions to bed. Kenneth Walker III is the vintage Porsche that the Seahawks have kept for the city streets. He needs to be let loose on the open highway. You can't tell what a sports car can do in a school zone, and we just don't know Walker's true potential until we see his engine throttled full. New offensive coordinator Ben Grubb's spread system finds balance in its offensive approach, and he seeks to attack from a variety of angles, especially in the run game. Having a supercharged back like Walker is like giving Grubb a gun for a knife fight. K9 is as dynamic as any running back in the sport. A juke a little reminiscent of Barry Sanders. The dead leg strut of Jamal Charles. An ability to bounce it outside in traffic and turn on the jets like LaDainian Tomlinson. He can make you miss in an apartment closet full of clothes. And when he's weaving in the open field, it sometimes feels like he's got the defenders tilting back and forth like new sailors without their sea legs. In an opulent backfield, Kenneth Walker is the crown jewel. If the Seahawks can just build him an offensive line that can create that 16 inches of daylight that Gale Sayers used to say was all he needed, then you will see Walker turned loose. Put him in a scheme that uses him not as a battering ram, but as a Trans Am. If the Seahawks can just throw K9 a bone, don't be surprised if he chews that thing down to the marrow. A little help can go a long way. My name is Brandon Kane. This is the Hawks Nest. Please hit the like button, please subscribe, but beyond all that, don't you ever forget. Go Hawks.